What is up, people? Your boy Jab back at it again. We're doing e-waste today. I've been waiting to do this for so long, like before even Mark II. Well, actually during Mark II. But anyways, let me show you these boards. We got boards with transformers on them, as you see. We got boards with capacitors on them. We got them with little copper spirals, little aluminum bits. I mean, we got all of the different types. I also got a lot of these noise filters from microwaves, and they have fuses and toroidal noise filters, and a little bit of wires on them as well. So let's go ahead and weigh all that I have here. I don't really have that much e-waste, but I got enough for us to see if it will pyrolysize. So the total weight came out to be 6.1 pounds. So now we have to go ahead and chop these boards up because they won't fit in the reactor, the current size there are a lot of them. So I gotta chop them up. We gotta, pry them open and crap. Hey, you know how we do it. Go ahead and just get this stuff done. I was gonna shred them at first, but then I looked and I saw how a lot of them had iron transformers, and I'm like, that's gonna definitely clog my shredder blades, damage the blades. So hey, we're gonna go ahead and load them in now. Just load them in one bit by one bit. You know how it is. Nice and patient with it. "8 minutes in, I hear some popping." You heard that? It's coming from the reactor. Now, that's kind of scary. It could be the capacitors or some metal component in there like popping, but I've never had this happen before, and I'm kind of scared. I feel like it could just blow up at any moment. So I'm recording. So if it does blow up, content, money. So pretty much almost immediately after turning the microwaves on. You see that? Let me do it this way. The e-waste is forming flammable vapor. Can you see that? You really can't, really. It's hard to see on camera. But you see the flame? Yeah. So that flame is from e-waste. So it is catalyzing on its own. It's absorbing microwaves well on its own for it to be forming this flammable vapor. It's kind of going in and out with the flame there. But yeah. So we're going to hook up the yoga balls because that is energy that we want to capture. So now that those flammable vapors are being routed into the yoga ball. 20 minutes in, as you see, the yoga ball is filling up. Let's check vapor production. Still hardly visible flame, but you can see the flame on camera a little bit there. So good stuff. Let's agitate it for the first time. Now I'm gonna put my safety glasses on because I'm a little bit scared that she might blow when I agitate it. And that's just because I keep hearing popping. I'm just playing. The chances of her blowing are very low, but it is going to be interesting to see what happens with this agitation. Will more popping happen? Well, it's on right now. Everything seems good. Now this was a 4-hour and 30-minute run, 20 kilowatt hours, and it wasn't an incomplete run in my opinion because I had to end it prematurely because some electrical wires came in contact with plastic in the electronics box, and it started to melt the plastic, from the power supply box, that is, and it was causing some issues, so I had to stop the reactor. It really should have run for another 30 minutes minimum. There was still vapor being produced, but I reckon, you know, with what we have, we're still gonna be able to get some good carbonization and see. If we don't have good carbonization when I open this up, if there's still visible motherboards and all that, we're just gonna run it again for another bit of time, because this is the most interesting part of e-waste, the carbon product. First thing I see when I open it up is this right here. This is clearly was a motherboard. Now it's been carbonized. I don't know if I'd say complete or not, but... So at this point in the run, guys, I was kind of confused, because I was like, well, I don't know if it really broke down well or not. So I ended up just fixing the electrical issue I had, and I ran it for another hour and 30 minutes. Just to, you know, make sure everything was nice and broken down completely, since we had to stop this. Okay, guys, so here is the end product of e-waste pyrolysis. Now, we've had tons of technical difficulties running this, but we got it done in the end. And, you know, I would say the carbonization was actually really good, considering two things. One, we had all those issues, kind of had to stop it in the middle of a good run and then restart. And for two, we also added no catalyst, so this acted as its own catalyst. Now, something interesting I noticed is a lot of these boards, they stayed intact despite everything being carbonized. The boards are still like I guess these boards are inorganic or something, or fiberglass, I don't know. But clearly, whatever they are, they did not break apart. At least some of them. Obviously, all this carbon came from somewhere. I just noticed that a lot of the boards are still, you know, able to be made out as boards, and it almost seems to be inorganic because of how it's like completely black and carbonized all the way through, and yet it still like retains its shape and its structure and everything, but it's completely carbonized, because look, like, you can't even see any color on it. Everything on it has been carbonized, so it's just like, well, why the heck is this board still intact if it's anything organic? So perhaps there's some type of fiberglass. Well, obviously, I don't think there's fiberglass, but maybe a ceramic of some type. Anyways, we're gonna sift this, because there's obviously a ton of goodies and metal and all types of stuff that, you know, is here to recover. And this is the most important part of e-waste pyrolysis. This part here, the carbon, beyond anything else, because this is where all the goodies are. This is where we get all that recovery. All the real value is out of this stuff right here. So I got me a good old wheelbarrow here. Got me a good old grate. We're gonna sift this stuff out. Now, before any of you say, I want to just make a little automatic sifter with a motor that's displaced a little bit. Well, let me tell you, that's a motor that costs money I don't got. So I'm gonna do this the old school way, like our ancestors, separating the wheat from the bran and the bran from the wheat by hand. Alright, here are the results. Everything that didn't sift out, or did sift out, I guess you could say. Mainly just these boards. Now, I looked it up, and these boards actually are made of glass fiber. Not fiberglass, but glass fiber. So that explains why they did not decompose. Because I really when I first opened the reactor, I was like, dude, this run was trash. It didn't decompose anything if these boards are still intact like this. But then I looked it up, and they're actually completely inorganic, non-conductive. So obviously, this could be shredded up and put as a filler in like concrete or something, right? So that's recovery there. Let me remove all these boards so we can actually see like the actual like metal recovery. I guess there is some metal on these boards still, some bits, some connections, and all that. But let's see the actual other bits. So, this is the rest of the stuff. And as you can tell, you probably can tell, or you're saying what I'm saying, like a fat percentage of e-waste is inorganic, completely inorganic. So it's an absolute shame that so much is just thrown away in landfills, because this is so much. Clearly a transformer here. I recovered the copper in there, the iron plates. I mean, I could pull this apart myself right now. It's already loose. It got loosened from the microwave pyrolysis. You can kind of tell it's a little bit like slanted and all. It's really loose. These little toroidal noise filters, these have completely come apart. There's ceramic under there, and then copper wires around it. I gotta say, like, if I had a foundry, I would absolutely be having a heyday right now, because I'm sure a little bit of extra carbon residue on all this metal really won't harm it when it goes in the foundry to be melted down. And I mean, like, this is the pure metal. There's no paints on it, no rubbers or crap on it. Like, look at that. This is copper wire from this. In fact, I could use this copper wire for something. So I mean, and I got like quite a few of these little toroidal noise filters. This is completely inorganic. This must be made of pure glass. I mean, clearly this is a great way to separate that stuff. Look at these capacitors. I mean, of course they're blown out. But what is that? Whoa! What the hell? What on earth? Is this aluminum or steel? What is this? What? Oh my word! What is this? This was in that capacitor, it was completely blown out, because obviously the temperature rise so much that the oil in there just. Look at that. This probably is steel foil right here. I can't tell if it's aluminum or steel, but most likely steel foil. And we got this casing around here as well. There's all this rubber. I guess this must be laminated paper. Another capacitor here. Let's see if it does the same. Oh, yep, there we go. Look at that. I mean, just the recovery, guys. The recovery is beautiful. I love this. This is one of my favorite parts. Another transformer. This one you could definitely tell is a little bit beat up. Clearly the magnetic fields. There was some funky stuff going on in that reactor, obviously. Like this, I don't know how these transformers get so misshapen. It doesn't really show up on camera, but this thing is that thing is jacked up. But it's still iron and copper to recover. Little smaller capacitors. I mean, like, I'm just loving this, because you know what? Like, there's no remnants. There's no trace of anything but just pure inorganic matter, except for inside these capacitors. Some of this paper, obviously, since it was on the inside of them, didn't get completely carbonized, but that's alright, you know what I'm saying? Like, this can go on in its own run. I mean, guys, this is big right here. Look, copper spirals, see that? Or this is completely inorganic as well. Fiberglass, glass fiber. By the way, guys, tell me what I could do with those glass fiber boards, because I have a whole plate of them, and I don't really have any use for them. Like, I literally would send these to somebody if you guys had a use for them. As you see, there's these motherboards or these circuit boards. The stuff just pops off easy because they've been so like heated and disformed and stuff. Like, they come apart easy. So all like the little resistors and stuff on them just pop right off. Look, these capacitors. Look at that. I'm sure the capacitors contributed quite a bit to the oil yield that we got, because they had oil within them, right? Like mineral oil or something, right? But look, I can completely just remove everything from these boards. And this is so easy compared to, like, if you try to do this with the four hands, you would not be able to just remove this stuff like this. I mean, you can try. I really doubt it. I'm really impressed. There's a piece of aluminum on a little circuit board. I'm sure this just will come off. No, not quite. There's some metal connectors holding it down. The metal's the only thing that survives, and fiberglass as well, of course. I mean, I'll put as much of the metal in here, take into my recycling bin I take to the scrapyard, I do my own metal recycling. I don't just put it in my recycling bin. I don't trust these hoes. But this has been one of my favorite runs so far. Just from this phase alone. I mean, the actual run of the reactor was an absolute disaster, but this phase alone has made up for it because I love this part of it, guys. I can't get around that enough. I just love this. I love, like, closing the loop, guys. Like, this is so beautiful. Another transformer. We got 3 transformers. All the epoxy on them is off. All the inorganic crap is off. This could be the copper taken out. This drops right into a foundry. I mean, it's beautiful. Because normally you'd be sitting here for so long taking all this crap off. Another transformer, once again. Piece of aluminum. So aluminum heatsink. We have like, look how many of these toroidal noise filters we got. We got even more too. And they're already so loose, the copper on them like got loosened. So it's just easy, and it's nice and soft too. The copper's real malleable, it's not really rough. I mean, this could easily be taken off. I'm sure that whatever that is under there, is that a piece of steel or is that a ceramic bit? It could easily be, you know, cut right here. You just get the copper out, separate it easy. I mean, there's a lot of metal left in these little circuit boards as well, as you see on the back. So that could either be removed, or it could be like shredded and then filtered out, sifted out, or whatever. We got a fuse here. I think that's what this was. Yeah, it looks like a fuse that got blown out. Got blown out like a little freaky nun. Oh man, guys, this is beautiful. Another aluminum heatsink. Yeah, this is gonna, the recycling scrapyard's gonna love me. Yeah, these fuses got blown out. Every single one of these fuses I see. Look, you see this is a cable, and there's all the insulation on this cable has been stripped. All of it. There's not one piece of insulation left. Just some bits of carbon. But look at that. That frayed copper wiring there. I mean, perfect for a foundry. Absolutely perfect, just like that. We're gonna do cables. I want to pyrolysize cables. I know they're PVC. We're gonna set the reactor to be able to accommodate that guest of the house. More foil. Like, everything is just so brittle and comes apart easy. Even the metal stuff. It's just easy to, like, it's already like ready to be separated as is. And this is what was left under the sift. So as we see, it's not the most consistent. It could have gone through another finer screen to get this heavier stuff out, because this is certainly not pure coal or charcoal or carbon. But you know, that just means that there's more other things to be recovered, more inorganic things, more metals. So I collected the majority of the metal contents in this jar here, and this jar alone weighs 3 pounds. If you remember, we put 6 pounds total in there. So just all the metal alone in e-waste accounts for over half the weight of it. This is 3.34 pounds. We put in around like 6 pounds if I remember right. So yeah, a lot of the weight comes from just straight the metal. To about 300 mil of total liquid yield, and this is actually some pretty decent looking oil. Let's see how she burns. Does not want to catch easily to a plasma arc, so this is probably more than likely mostly diesel with some gasoline fractions in there. Of the gas products, we got about a yoga ball and a half. Now the reason why this is less than a half is because I actually ended up leaking a lot of it by accident. So there was not really that much liquid, was not that much gas, but we also did not put that much in there, mind you. And nonetheless, I do feel like it's interesting that, you know, we did get oils and we did get gas out of e-waste, especially when we noticed that the printed boards, which was the majority of what was in there, those were completely inorganic, you know. Between that and then all like the metal transformers and capacitors, that was majority of the actual weight. So we really didn't actually even put that much organic stuff in there, but we got quite a bit of products out considering how much we put in. So hey, something for something. Will electronics pyrolysize? Yes, they will. E-waste is absolutely pyrolysizable.